Hi, I'm Snider. I write books, I give talks, I do a lot of research. For my research, I often go to historic cemeteries. So I spend a lot of time walking through cemeteries, looking at the headstones, and you can learn a lot about people doing this. To me, going to a cemetery, it's like visiting an outdoor open-air museum. And I hope by the end of this video, you will share some of my excitement for exploring historic cemeteries.
But I wish we could have the old Austin, really do. It was so beautiful. Those were happy times, but now it's so congested, it's not what it used to be. I wish we could go back to the old Austin. 6th Street was live back in the days. I know because I used to go down 6th Street. We used to, cruise. It was like California. Breakdancers on the corners. I had a friend named Chucky Bocanegra, a big time breaker. They used to put the boards out there on the corners and they would break dance. The disco era, I used to get in. I'm gonna give myself away here. I was 16 years old getting into the disco. I used to carry my brother's school ID and it said it was 18. I was only 16. It was called Rocky Raccoons.
They were just an interesting crew. There were 2 engines and a truck that were assigned there, so there were a lot of people. And Alex Trevino was a character there. And I was mopping the floor, and the Boy Scouts were coming through for a tour. And they go, there are women in the department? And Alex says, no, we just have her to clean the floors, And there was a lot of razzing, too, that you had to endure. They liked you, they razzed you.
I really hope that people take away that there's a longer history to Austin than what was previously believed.
We have a lot more to learn with the natural landscape that remains here as everything gets closed up and paved over and this becomes a world-class city. The natural environment here still has a lot of the clues of what happened here a long time ago. It's just a really unique environment. Austin as a meeting place of the hill country and the plains areas and kind of like a borderland, but more like a cartilage, like a kneecap or something like that. Just the fact that it's such a transitional place, I think for us to really understand what Austin is about, we have to understand that part of it, because that story is not very well told sometimes.
El Camino Real was basically used up until the 1920s. For instance, the old San Antonio Road. When you drive out to Nacogdoches from Austin, at some point you catch Highway 21, which basically parallels El Camino Real. After 1921, whole new systems of roads were being built, and typically those roads were being placed between property boundaries, and those became the old county roads. Some of them became farm-to-market roads, and then eventually some of these roads became our highway system. So in most cases, El Camino Real is not too far away from some of our roads, but in some ways the roads just completely bypassed El Camino Real, and slowly El Camino Real became part of our cultural memory. In other words, in archaeology, cultural memory is something that we remember from what we heard from our grandmother, who heard from her grandmother. So about 6 to 7 generations ago, and eventually the facts start to blur from living memory into cultural memory, and that's where we have a lot of knowledge for El Camino Real.
Austinites use this every day without ever recognizing that they're traveling on paths that were used by people for thousands of years. This indigenous history that has played such an important part of Texas history that is often neglected. Hopefully by recognizing these places and spaces that people have lived and traveled in, it will help to relate the Native American experience for Austinites and Texas in general. Whenever you walk along a trail through Austin, or ride your bike or walk your dog along these city parks and trails, it's easy to relate to the people who lived here thousands of years before.